Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a truly mind-bending concept from a message by the Church of 1122. They call it the upside-down kingdom. This primary source completely flips our modern understanding of success right on its head. And to make it even more interesting, we're going to layer in some incredibly rich historical and linguistic context to really flesh out these ideas. It's going to be a great one.
So let me ask you right off the bat, how do you define greatness? Because in our modern culture, the illusion of success is almost always tied to this upward trajectory, right? It's this relentless rat race for more power, a higher position, more possessions. But what if that entire ladder is literally leaning against the wrong wall? The 1122 sermon challenges this cultural norm head-on, suggesting that true greatness doesn't look anything like what the world is selling us.
To help us make sense of this massive paradigm shift, here's our roadmap for today. First, redefining true greatness. Second, religion versus redemption. Third, the ultimate example. Fourth, steps to kingdom greatness. And finally, the posture of a servant. All right, let's jump in.
Section 1. Redefining true greatness, the worldly view versus the kingdom view.
From day one, we're taught to attain a higher position, accumulate all the possessions we can, and flex our power. The 1122 sermon illustrates this perfectly by pointing to a story in Matthew chapter 20. Jesus has literally just told his followers he's going to Jerusalem to be arrested and killed. And what happens? The ultimate helicopter mom, the mother of James and John, immediately pulls Jesus aside to ask if her sons can sit on thrones next to him. She's operating entirely on the world's definition of success. She just wants the power and the position for her boys.
Moving on to Section 2, religion versus redemption. This is a massive paradigm shift in faith.
This brings us to two deeply opposed mindsets. According to the sermon, religion is all about you trying to earn your way to the top. It's about flexing power and trusting your own resume to secure your spot. But redemption, it operates on completely inverted economics. It's about grace. It actually involves enduring pain, and it requires serving at the bottom. Religion basically says, climb up. Redemption says, Jesus came down.
This exact point is captured beautifully in Brian Bell's commentary on Galatians, which supplements our primary source perfectly. He warns us against what he calls the me gospel, this incredibly exhausting gospel of self-reliance, money, and personal performance. True redemption, on the other hand, focuses entirely on what has already been done on our behalf. Because the work is finished, we are totally freed from that exhausting rat race of trying to earn our own way to the top.
That brings us to Section 3, the ultimate example. Christ's descent into humility.
To truly wrap our heads around this, we have to look at a Greek word, kenosis. Dr. Ralph F. Wilson's linguistic commentary explains that this word literally translates to empty. In Philippians, it's referring to Christ voluntarily divesting himself of his divine prestige and privileges. Now, to be clear, he didn't lose his divinity, but he actively chose to empty himself of the glory and power that was rightfully his. This right here, this is the absolute starting point for kingdom greatness.
Let's visually track this descent, because it's exactly what the 1122 pastor means by the upside-down kingdom. Step 1, Jesus starts with absolute equality with God. Step 2, he descends by taking the form of a servant, literally a slave. Step 3, he is made in human likeness. And step 4, the ultimate bottom, he becomes obedient to a shameful, agonizing death on a cross. He completely, 100% inverted the worldly ladder of success. While we are all scrambling up the ladder trying to become gods, God climbed all the way down to become a servant.
There's another fascinating Greek word in the text here, harpagmos. It actually only appears once in the entire New Testament, and it means a prize, or something to be exploited for personal advantage. The supplemental commentary points out that Jesus already possessed equality with God, but he did not view it as harpagmos. He didn't see it as something to clutch onto or use as a VIP pass to flex his power. Instead, he simply chose to let it go so he could serve others.
But you know, the descent isn't the end of the story. Because Jesus took that ultimate downward path, God's response was incredible. Therefore, God exalted him to the highest place. The sources emphasize here that God's reaction to absolute voluntary humility is ultimate vindication and exaltation. Greatness wasn't achieved by grasping and clawing for it. It was bestowed as a result of total surrender.
Okay, Section 4, Steps to Kingdom Greatness. Let's look at some practical application from the 1122 sermon.
The pastor lays out this incredibly clear, actionable four-step framework for actually living in this inverted kingdom day to day. It goes, bend your knee, endure pain, honor authority, and serve. Let's break down exactly what these look like in real life.
So, step 1, bend your knee. Greatness always begins with surrender. The sermon is adamant about this. It's your proximity to Jesus, not what you produce, that determines your success. A really practical example of this is establishing a Sabbath rhythm, taking intentional time every week to just stop producing and simply rest, orienting your life so that God is first. If God isn't first, your entire life is fundamentally out of order. And an out-of-order life, it can never achieve true kingdom greatness.
Next up, we have enduring pain and honoring authority. Look, the reality is, if you want to change the world, you have to be willing to endure the pain that comes with it. Jesus straight up told his ambitious disciples they were going to have to drink the cup of suffering. And when it comes to authority, the sermon makes this really striking point. God will not bless rebellion. You should never, ever expect to be trusted with authority until you have first learned how to humbly live under it.
Finally, Section 5, the posture of a servant, lowering yourself to lift others.
This brings us to the radical nature of this whole calling. Listen to this absolute mic drop quote from the primary sermon. He didn't come to make bad people better, he came to make dead people alive. Wow. This isn't about some casual self-improvement or behavior modification. It's about a complete, total transformation of the heart, one that enables a person to stop obsessing over their own status and start genuinely pouring out their strength for the benefit of everyone else.
The foundational anchor for this entire concept is right here in Matthew 20:28. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. As our supplementary texts highlight, giving his life a ransom for many is the ultimate act of substitutionary atonement. Jesus took supreme, cosmic authority, and he didn't use it to dominate. He used it to show ultimate compassion, sacrificing himself completely to redeem humanity.
So, we're going to wrap up our explainer today with the question for you to chew on. Will you just keep climbing that exhausting, never-ending ladder of self-promotion? Or will you choose the path of the upside-down kingdom, bending your knee, humbling yourself, and washing feet? True greatness is out there waiting for sure, but it might just be in the exact opposite direction of where the world is telling you to look. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.